in section 4.6, number 3 and 4, classroom exercises, page 148. So, number 3, we have a diagram like this. We're trying to see if angle 3 is congruent to angle 4. Okay. Now notice 3 is part of this little triangle, and it's part of the big one. So we could do either one. Try to figure out a way to do either one to show that 3 is congruent to 4. So let's see. I will try to use. I'll use a big triangle. Well, yeah, I'll use a big one. So I'm going to try to show that ALB is congruent to AJB, and if the triangles are congruent, then the parts of those triangles are congruent. So 3 and 4 would be congruent. So our goal is to get this big triangle congruent to this big one. See if we can prove that for sure. So let's see what we can do. There's what we want. Now, let's start with our given. We've got BL congruent to BJ and LO congruent to JO, and that's given. So instead of using a big triangle and going to a small one, I'm going to have to use some small triangles and go to a big one. Because notice LBO, this triangle right here, and this triangle right here, they share a side, BO. And then we'd have 1, 2, 3 sides. 1, 2, 3. Side, 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 side. So we can show the triangles are congruent by SSS. Nice. So BO congruent to itself. Identity. And then we know triangle BOL is congruent to triangle BOJ. That's side, side, side theorem. And then we know parts of triangles are congruent. Which parts? Angle 1 and angle 2. So we can show, we know angle 1 congruent to angle 2, CPCTC. Because when triangles are congruent, then their corresponding parts are congruent. Okay? Now, if we look at this big triangle, and this big triangle, notice BO is not the side of either triangle, it's part of one side. We need the whole entire thing, not a part of it. You got to be careful about making that mistake. Some people do. So we say AB congruent to itself, identity, and then notice in the big triangle we've got, I'll get that one piece of chalk here. We've got this, and then this, those two triangles, the top and the bottom, and we've got this side the same as this side, and that was a given. We proved this is the same as this. We know AB is the same as itself by identity. So all the information's already written down, so we can go ahead and state our conclusion. Okay? Because we must write stuff down before we can draw a conclusion. If I'm going to use side angle side, it must be there. I've got BL and BJ. I've written that down. Angle 1 and angle 2, I've written that down. AB and AB, I've written it down. So now I can say triangle ALB is congruent to triangle AJB by side angle side. And then lastly, the thing we want to prove, since the top triangle and the bottom are congruent, their parts are congruent. So 3 is congruent to 4. And that's it. CPCTC. So we're done with that one.